intro. You're doing the
Okay.
Mark Maron thing where you just start recording, right? Because that's what you should do. You get all these awesome cold intro.
No, we're not.
tidbits.
We don't do
We're
that.
not professional
do it?
enough to do that.
Yeah.
You're recording right now.
I am. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Jesus Christ. I spiked my board. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Lawrence Watson Show. Episode 6?
6?
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe.
We're this close to double digits, folks.
The 10th anniversary special.
Yeah,
It's only been a year.
yeah, only a year. Well,
Maybe
this is
even
what,
more.
when do we start back up with? April or March, I think.
Who the hell knows? We're
Doesn't
just
matter.
counting out the content, are we?
Yeah, it doesn't
6
matter.
months, 6 episodes.
Yeah. Hey, for me, that's a pretty good track record. When I was doing it on my own, you'd get maybe one episode every week or one episode every 3, 4, 5 months. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, damn. Anyway, so,
We have someone sitting in with
yeah.
us.
So, as always, I'm joined by the brothers Kurt, John, and Jeff, the twins.
Good
But
evening.
good evening, Jeff. But we have a special guest sitting with us, our friend who normally joins us for our weekly dalliances over
Thursdays.
at Weenie Hut Juniors.
Weenie Hut Juniors? Yeah.
Who joins us sometimes weekly. He's our friend Tim. Welcome, Tim.
Hi. Is that a solid opening? Hi.
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 Yeah.
It's nice to meet you, Tim.
Yeah. We've never met
seen you guys
before. Yeah, so welcome to the show, and we hope you have a good time when you come back for many, many more episodes.
Thanks. I'll have to clear my schedule. You guys are really churning these out. I mean, once a month. That's like the married sex schedule, right? You get laid
It's
once a
a
month.
major
considered
time
pretty good.
commitment.
You got a much better reaction the first time.
There's a well-known JFK shooting conspiracy theory.
Oh, well, let's get into that before we get into any of our meteor topics.
Theory is that his head just did that.
You can see that if you slow the Zapruder film down, he's just spontaneous human combustion of the cranium.
You look at frame by frame deconstruction, you'll see
In
that
a communist plot framed by George Soros.
Oh, my
Oswald's
God.
gun was actually leaning up against the window. He was taking a shit. Anyway, I can't take credit for that. I read it somewhere.
Well,
It's floating out there.
in the ether. So, the weather started to change, I should say.
Yeah.
We know it's fall now, and I know it's fall because on the first cold day, I couldn't breathe through my nose, so that's always fun.
Yeah. What happens to the best of us?
Yeah, well, allergies, you know,
You know how I know it's fall?
cocaine.
Cheap cocaine.
I know it's fall when you're walking down the streets of Pittsburgh and you just start singing "The Boxer" by Simon and Garfunkel randomly.
I didn't know people did that.
It is, and I
Yeah.
feel like that song is like the best fall song ever. I have like all these memories of like at Cal U, it getting cold, and then just listening to
Okay,
The Boxer.
all right. So we went there together. Well, we were at Cal together, Tim and I,
Yeah.
for a good couple years anyway. But the fall theme song that I've always had was "Killing Moon" by Echo and the Bunnymen.
Oh, you're right. That's a better one. Yeah. Oh, that's a good karaoke. I always think I should karaoke that song, and then I forget about it.
What's a good thing you brought that up? It's a common theme on the show.
Yeah.
Karaoke, yeah.
If you listen, you'd know that.
Yeah.
This is number 6, so that makes at least 5
5.
that karaoke's been brought up.
Well, wait a minute now.
But it's not as though we don't have any stories or anything.
I think in episode 2 we didn't mention karaoke at all.
Right.
No, we did.
So that makes
We did?
5.
Oh yeah, Jimmy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Well, there was one that we didn't talk about karaoke at all.
Episode 3.
Okay.
So
Well, you
5
would
out
know
of
better
6.
than me. You,
On this Lawrence Watson Show retrospective.
yeah.
Now,
A look back.
I look back.
I know
At
you
our
guys
best
want to do karaoke at Nico's, but there's a gay bar on Butler Street that does karaoke 24/7, and that place is amazing.
24/7.
Yeah, they're just a karaoke bar.
Gay
nothing but-
karaoke.
Is it nothing but a bunch of like 60s girl group songs?
No, you can do whatever you want, and it's actually pretty talented. And really, what makes it is as you're singing the karaoke, they have gay porn playing on their TV screens.
Well, I'll just be too distracted.
How will we ever combat our feelings?
We should
How-
take Laura there.
How many fat girls are at the gay bar?
I took a date there, and I sang "Purple Rain," and I nailed it.
You always nail it every
And
time.
she was like, "Wet as October," and this gay guy leaned over to her and said to her, "Honey, you're just barking up the wrong tree."
So everybody, that was the show. 6 solid minutes of podcast.
Just like sex with me.
Ooh.
Mr. Marathon Man.
Ooh.
Well, I put on podcasts. Well,
Sex of the spoken word.
yeah.
I like my vagina. Sometimes I stare at it in the mirror when I'm undressing and wonder what it would look like without any hair.
Jesus.
Is this Lawrence's vagina monologues?
No, it was my impression of Phil Hartman reading the Sex by Madonna book as Charlton Heston. I should have prefaced it that way, but I felt the moment. I just had to jump into the impression.
Oh, see, I thought you were talking about your own vagina.
No.
It was the 90s, man.
So,
Bush was fashionable.
Lord, does that mean you read a book that Madonna wrote?
No, I never read the book. I just
Saturday Night Live, man.
was on SNL.
Oh, okay.
We're going to edit that out.
Fine.
As I say this, but never do.
That involves effort.
Yeah, well,
And we just leave it all on the floor here.
yeah, I mean, you know.
How about the whole show is just Lawrence reading the Madonna book about his vagina?
The book
Do
is
that at
Sex
home.
by Madonna, read by Charlton Heston.
Yeah. No, read by Lawrence doing Charlton Heston.
Actually, it's read by Lawrence doing Phil Hartman doing Charles.
Yeah, it was read by. Oh, God. That's too many layers. So, anyway.
I thought you had a top.
Damn dirty vagina.
I do, but our listeners, far and away, of the 5 that participated in the poll,
Out of all 5 of our listeners.
out of all 5 of our listeners, we know they're the most loyal.
You did a poll and there were 5 responses?
Yeah,
Don't you get like
Holy
random
hell.
YouTube views though? You
I do.
must.
Yeah.
Has there been any random comments? Because I feel like those would be
No,
the best.
never.
We have been begging for comments since episode
Maybe we
0.
should just
Oh,
stop
yeah.
begging for comments. I think.
It's true, because if you act like you're not cool, then you become cool.
Yeah, maybe.
No, you're just
Or
still
it's,
not cool.
Well, for us, we're just.
if
not
you don't
cool.
try to be cool.
I don't know what it is. How other shows is not that good.
Well, that's
No,
that is the reason.
Yeah, that is the reason our show just isn't good.
You just need more, like.
But I've heard
Facts.
worse podcasts than this.
Well, you need to like interview like.
Famous
No,
people.
yeah, if you could get some famous
I need to-
people in here.
Hey.
That would really help you.
I know that. Hey,
Oh,
Yeah. Tune in next week for Ben Affleck.
yeah. Well, wait a minute now. I know Conan O'Brien is a listener. And maybe our actual listener, John Danik, will appreciate that joke.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, but you don't
He
actually
does
listen.
listen. Yeah. He responded to the poll, I believe.
And he said,
He wanted-
"Hiatus."
Wow. Hollywood John Danik.
Yeah. He wanted, well, he works for Conan. We should preface that, but he works for his show or program or what. However it is. Conan, let me know how he works for your show.
Well, I know how he works for the show.
Okay. It was some digital thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's a content web designer.
Yeah. He's helping Conan with Conan's new podcast.
Well, you should give him some tips.
Conan has a podcast.
Apparently.
It's going to be out soon.
Did he like give up on the TV thing? I feel
Well,
like
the
You
funny
got-
you should mention
I
that.
got
As
cut down
I,
to a half hour.
yeah,
That's it.
as I prepare to bury Conan O'Brien here after I just.
Don't bury the man. Jesus, he's been through enough.
It's just the
A
ratings.
half hour.
The
So,
ratings.
so he does a monologue and then a sketch that's like a minute and a half, and he has a guest, and that's it.
No, I think they're going to be doing more remotes.
What does that mean?
That's when he gets out into the world.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
That's when he's at his
bits.
best.
Yeah,
That's when
that's
I
the stuff
love
he's best at.
Conan.
Yeah, I guess so.
But that's the thing too. I
haven't seen
think
it in a long
I think like no one watches those shows anyways. It's not really his fault.
Well,
Like,
no, it really what the idea is. You want to get more primary, web clips.
Yeah,
Yeah, most
you
of his
get YouTube
most of his
videos.
views
On
are
the-
from YouTube.
on demand and YouTube stuff. So he's just basically making a half-hour show that you can take it or leave if you want to watch it. But if your YouTube views are through the roof, that does a lot for advertisers anyway.
Yeah.
And the target demographic of
18 to 49.
males who buy shit.
That's me.
You don't buy shit.
Buy some things
He buys necessary things.
As I look at your shirt.
that I got for free.
So, I really was going to transition into a topic, but I
we
wanted
don't
to.
do transitions on this show.
Well, I know, but I wanted to say that our listeners spoke, all of them that bothered, and actually those that participated in the Facebook of the show. There are some who listen who will just listen on Stitcher or whatever. But the 5 who participated in the poll, 4 of them wanted dedicated topics. Only one of them wanted freewheeling conversation like what we're doing now, and we're alienating those other people. And that one person was probably our most loyal listener, Dr. Professor Coach Rod, QCMP.
Coach Rod.
Well, wait a minute. Now, this is a man that knows what he's talking about. He's a doctor professor,
Soon to be Reverend, I'm guessing.
Reverend, yeah.
but he's only 20% of our audience.
Yeah, well. Anyway, like I said, I was going to transition into a topic, and I did have topics. I promise you, listeners, I have topics. Those of you who haven't tuned out by now, which I assume is none of you.
All right, let's hear the smooth transition.
Yes. So oh God.
Oh, real quick though,
Okay.
on the way here. No, I'm just kidding.
Funny thing happened on the way to the forum today.
This will be a seamless transition.
Yeah. So hockey season is back.
Is it?
Yeah. And football season is in full swing.
You said these topics were good. We're just hashing out the same old shit.
We talked about.
Well, these are our regulars.
These are our regulars.
It's not my fault we only do the show once a month.
Oh, well, hey.
But hockey season barely started.
That's true. It did just barely
And
start.
already there's a controversy.
There is
There is.
goalie controversy.
Goalie controversy.
What else?
Is it just that one guy at Weenie Hut Jr. who just goes, oh, there you go, Murray?
No, it's not that one guy.
It was
It's
that guy.
about
He actually
everybody.
started the controversy.
But, starting goaltender and 2-time Stanley Cup champion Matt Murray has been on the bench. He has given up 11 goals in his first 2 games. And also, after coming back, after sustaining a concussion in practice, has still, after 2 games, been not put back in the lineup.
Interesting.
Wasn't he back up last game though?
That was, he
was.
He was on the bench the last 2 games.
Okay. Yeah.
And you expect him to come back in one of those 2 games.
Yeah.
I should think tomorrow, as we're taping this, there's a game tomorrow. I should think they'll probably start him tomorrow.
By the time this gets out, it'll be resolved.
Yeah, like I said, as we tape this, there's a game tomorrow.
But here's what I understand.
By the time I finish this, there will be another game.
Our
It's like
team.
2 shuts out in a row, like right after this. And Sean's like, he's washed up.
Well, and the thing is that we're only 5 games into the season
Yeah,
with a
right.
2-1-2 record, which is not a crisis by any means. And already people are talking about
They're
trade.
done.
They're gonna do it. I'm worried about the power play. I'm worried about it's 5 games. They'll get it together, or they won't. But now's the time to make that assessment.
Well, don't these people remember 2016?
In
Where-
February, they were
was
out
it
of the
February
playoffs.
where
Yeah,
they were
out of the
They
playoffs.
lost 12 in a row or something.
They always sucked for
They always have
at least
those
a solid,
periods like that.
4 months.
A lot of time it's the beginning of the season where they just
they
just stink.
Yeah.
I think you kind of need a crisis too in order to be halfway decent. Like anytime there's a crisis, it seems like they
Win the
overcome
Stanley
the
Cup,
crisis and yeah.
Usually that involves firing. Well, usually that involves firing a coach, but we're not advocating for that.
That's what the Pens should do. They should just fire the coach
Every year.
single year. Just fire. Like, just go a different route halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Even if they have like a winning record, halfway through the season, just fire the coach.
What's better than the Still be better than the Steelers, who never ever fire coaches?
Now, hold on, before you get to that, like the New Jersey Devils actually used to make that kind of a tradition where they would have a great year, and general manager Lou Lamoriello would fire the coach so he could coach for the Stanley Cup, and they'd win.
Oh, then he gets to take all the credit.
I guess he could take as much credit as he wanted to in the first place, but he just wanted to coach for some reason.
Well, it's like Dan Bylsma in 2009.
Well, he did take all the credit because he actually earned it.
I would say.
That team was going nowhere.
They lost the Stanley Cup under Terrian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you remember that year, they were really stinking up the joint. I mean, they weren't going to make the playoffs if they kept up that trajectory.
Because, like, everyone hated Terrian.
Everybody hated
Everybody
Terrian.
hated
He got
Michel
one,
Terrian.
like, in
Number
shape.
two,
But he took them to the Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, but it was one of those things where
it was gone.
he was
It
one
was
of those.
over.
Yeah, he's one of those coaches where you can only go with him so far.
He's
the players will only tolerate him so long.
Well, he's a turnaround
Yeah.
specialist. If you're playing like shit, he'll get you to be competent and perhaps even good.
Which
but
he did do for the Penguins.
He wears out his welcome.
Yeah.
And with that foundation that Terrian had, and Bylsma came in, and plus the thing about Terrian was he was so bogged down by system. And you take guys with speed and creativity like Malkin and Crosby, and you have to put them into a box. Where Dan Bylsma let the chains off a little bit. But the problem with Bylsma
was changing the lines up every night.
Changing the lines up every night, and then he had them so, and after a few years became so
his
confident.
system.
He had his system,
Yeah.
which relied heavily on the stretch pass, which involves a pass out of your own end to a guy standing still at the blue line. And if you're accepting a pass while standing still, you can't enter the zone with any sort of speed, and they would have no zone time because they'd get the puck just either intercepted or taken off of you every single time. And after that, time to go. And they got, Mr. Rogers to coach them, which didn't really help anything.
Mr. Rogers. I don't know. He wasn't as bad as Eddie Olczyk and Mike Johnston, but
Well, Eddie Olczyk was never a coach, and the team was terrible anyway, so
Yeah.
might as well give a guy a job.
yeah, well,
Oh,
that
these
commentator gig was
some
getting
dark
pretty-
years.
Oh, they were dark years,
Yeah.
weren't they?
The Eddie Olczyk timeout.
Oh, yeah, that's where you call a timeout and then don't say anything. Just kind of
Damn it.
stand there.
You ruined it. I was about to do my impression of Eddie Olczyk on a timeout, and I wasn't going to say anything.
Isn't, like, dead
pretty good.
airtime, like, horrible? Like, is that
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why I always edit it up. Like if it's longer than 2 or 3 seconds, I'll chop it off.
Keep it in. Go against
Well,
the
no,
grain.
because I've still got to upload this fucking thing to like YouTube, and I want to do it within a day. So yeah.
What was that one album that one dude released in the 70s where it was totally silent for like an hour? Then it was people applauding. And it was called like something in so-and-so's greatest hits.
Are you thinking of that one that's like 4 minutes and 32 seconds?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, it's something
composition where
It's
it's
a composition, yeah.
where basically it's a mic'd up empty auditorium.
like that.
But I don't think that's what you're talking about.
No, this is like a dude that released this joke album that was like, it's so-and-so's greatest hits. Nothing's on it, and then there's just applause at the end.
Sounds like Buddy Hackett to me.
If we had an actual producer, you could look it up and then just chime in with the correct answer. But we can't do that.
Henry, look that up.
Yeah, we can't do that right now.
He's sleeping. Sleep at the switch.
That's fine as long as he's not barking and deafening everyone.
You mean barking out orders to us from the booth, right?
Yeah. So now that we've got the Penguins out of the way,
Oh, by the way,
Oh,
speaking of hockey, I have a message for Earl from Canada. Who the hell's Eugene? Earl from
well,
Canada.
didn't we go to school with a Eugene from?
From Russia.
Russia.
No. I was thinking of Ottawa Senators owner Eugene Melnick. Thinking of Earl from Canada.
I don't know if
This is
Earl
where I
listens
get-
anymore,
This
but
is where I give him a big fat "I told you so" because Eric Carlson is no longer on the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, shit, that's right.
He was traded away to the San Jose Sharks.
San Jose.
You got San Jose down
St.
there.
Josie.
I told you, Earl. I told you.
I don't think he disputed you.
I think he did.
I don't remember him disputing you, but
I don't get many victories, all right? So let me have this one.
well, okay. I don't even know if he listens anymore, so I don't. Earl, if you're still listening, let me know. But
Tell Earl to listen and then comment on the video about why John's an asshole.
we don't have all night, you know.
Hey, John, I'm sorry, but you're an asshole.
I was
Sorry.
just trying to explain, and we've been on this side with the Pittsburgh Pirates where short-term gains are all that matters to ownership. It's called that fuck you style of management, which I've gone in depth with many times.
We did this, yeah. We did this episode.
And this time I'm just saying, there it is, Earl. I'm sorry, because it sucks.
So, on that note, on sucking, let's talk about the Steelers a little bit, because we're more into the season with them.
A little bit.
Yeah. So, I was doing this NFL pick'em, and every week that I would pick the Steelers to win, they would lose. And every week I picked them to lose, they would win. So I started picking them to lose. And I picked them to lose 2 weeks in a row.
We'll just pick them after the game is over.
And then you're always right.
Yeah, it wouldn't work that way, would it?
Well, I did recall the players and the head coach thanking you in their post-game press conferences.
It should.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody should.
I'll tell you what it was. I forgot to wear my Eric Pegram jersey before the game. That's what it always is, you know. You know, that jersey has won every game I wore it.
Well, hey, you know what? We had our own lucky streak with the Stanley Cup when we went to Roy's.
Oh, yeah, our luxury box.
Oh, I miss Roy's. Do you think he'll sell the bar to me? How much do you think I could?
I want to get on that.
Yeah.
I don't think you want it, though. He said it basically breaks even.
Bar breaks even.
Yeah.
Well, how does he make money?
He doesn't
He doesn't
make
He
money.
has a railroad
Oh.
He's got a retirement from the railroad. They have a good union.
How does he? It
The
breaks
bar's a
even.
sandbox for him. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's just something to
pension.
do.
It's not there for his income.
But I mean, people buy beers there. Did he buy it outright? Because then he doesn't have like a mortgage. So what's he paying for that he breaks even?
His pension.
No,
That's what
what's
he's
what's
using.
he paying?
Oh.
for?
No, the business breaks even.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, he
So
still has
the business-
taxes.
And he probably just
Beer.
bought it outright, but the business, you know, brings in what it
Employees.
sends out.
Did I give away all his alcohol?
They're probably working under the table anyway.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Make him an offer he can't refuse. Tell me he can still hang out there.
$500.
You could turn it to the only gay bar in like the Triborough area.
And the pagans walk in. Hey guys!
God.
You're under new
The gay
management.
pagans.
I guess it's meetings all around tonight.
oh shit. That's why we stopped going there in the first place, was the pagans.
If you don't clear the pool table, I'm gonna kick your ass.
You guys look so cute in your leather.
The leather daddies.
Some leather on leather action, man.
Ooh.
I still want to ride my bike there and talk to the pagans and be like, yeah, nice Harleys. This is nice Yamaha I got going on.
I'm gonna ride a Vespa.
We're all brothers, right? Right? This bound? It's a brotherhood.
Take my Vespa. We be one of the guys.
Son, do you want to be in the paper tomorrow?
Rev it in the parking lot.
Can I join you guys?
I would like to buy you a beer. Import.
Jesus.
Make good martinis now. Like, we could put up like a billboard, like,
We sell martinis now.
we now have martinis. Maybe you could just hire me as like a manager.
I don't think he could
would.
afford that.
Or plus,
Even if it was minimum wage.
I don't think he would know who I am either. Either might be an issue.
Well, he always knows who we are.
Yeah, he knew.
But it's
yeah.
been a while.
Yeah.
John's afraid of the pagans, so he can't go back.
We operate under different rules, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, honestly, Weenie Hut Juniors is a nicer bar.
I think if you sat down with them and really got to know them, see that they're.
Let's not have any of that leftist pinko crap on my show.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Well, we need Hut Juniors. It is a nicer bar, but
Yeah, it
that's
is a
the
nice bar.
problem.
The problem is that it's
They
not
got
a
less
box.
dank.
They got rid of the dank.
They didn't get rid of the dank. There's still a little bit of dank there,
A tad.
but there's not as much dank as at Roy's.
Yeah, there's a lot of dank there.
Roy's
Not
is
the
dank.
You know what I saw? which I think's hilarious and we should do, is Little Dicks has a comedy night.
Oh yeah,
Which is like
I thought they were trying to sell. Well, it hasn't been Little Dicks for about 15 years.
What is it now?
Peters Creek Pub.
Peters Creek.
Oh, what the fuck? Who goes to that place for comedy?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know. I want to go in and see their who's up there.
Well, let's put on our laughing hats and go down.
Make an outing of it.
Hey, everybody, you ready to laugh?
Maybe they'll book the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, Timmy, you weren't with us. Sorry. You missed it.
Honky Tonk Man.
Professional wrestler doing a one-man show. And he was
And it was glorious.
so much better than the actual comedians. It was some at the Improv.
Oh, really?
He headlined at the Improv.
There were 2 openers and they were terrible.
Was he vegan also? I saw a one-man
No.
show by a wrestler who
No.
was vegan.
Definitely
Brian
the
Danielson
honky.
is vegan.
He sucked though. It was like had this vegan festival.
There's
Anyway.
no humor at a vegan festival, Timmy.
No, it was bad. They set it up really poorly because it was like an open, like air theater thing. Like people were having picnics and stuff, and then like
Go like a Kennywood.
yeah, and then they would bring up people who were comedians with like, but people were just like walking around, going to food trucks, like maybe laying on the grass and like smoking a joint, and making out. And then like the comedian walks up there, and
Yeah,
it's
so,
yeah. It was,
I
like,
got
the
jokes
worst
for
video.
you.
They're like, shut up.
I got jokes for you.
Yeah, it's not a good
Just silence, and then like even sadder, like the
polite
The
applause.
the
polite
one
applause.
or two people
I understand
clapping.
you're like you're
You're
trying.
trying.
Yeah.
How come all the vegan hamburgers are made out of black beans? I mean, what's wrong with kidney beans?
Oh, God.
So yesterday, I had this meter come up to me, and you know what he says? He says, "How do you don't like meat?"
Yeah, I wanted to have like a witty comeback for the. Actually, kidney beans don't hold up in the food process as well as black beans. Every vegan knows that.
They don't press well, to be honest.
They just don't have that same mouth appeal.
Go ahead, press a bunch of kidney beans together and see if they hold up on the grill.
I'm
Try it.
waiting.
How are pinto beans?
They're good.
No, I mean, how do they hold up on the grill?
They fall right through.
I don't make a lot of my own like veggie burgers, so I don't know. I'm bad at making those. Some people
so you're
like
just-
making them.
So you're just eating all this processed food.
Yeah.
It's made in a factory by minimum wage employees.
No, it's like all kale.
Migrant labor.
I eat way too much kale now.
Kale sucks.
No, I love kale.
It's
You're just
gross. It's like eating weeds.
Well, I
You
think
gotta
that's the end of
do
this
it.
show.
It's If you drown it in soy-based butter substitute,
no. Well, yeah. What you do is it pairs really
And
well with the fat.
1,200 milligrams of sodium.
Yeah, then it's amazing. You have to go, like, stuff.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Tim is a vegan. So I thought we would point this out before we went much further with this
And
conversation.
he fries his kale and beef tallow.
Oh my God!
I had kale when it was John and I's cousin. She had her wedding reception at the Arboretum. Is that what it is? What's it called?
I don't know.
The place with all the plants.
some
Phipps
place with
Conservatory.
Phipps Conservatory.
Yeah, the Arboretum.
I don't know what an arboretum is. I guess it's trees or something.
It's where you
There
eat
isn't
the arbor.
one. But they had all these plants, and there was a kale plant, and we were walking around drinking, and I just grabbed a piece of kale and ate it, and it didn't taste good, Tim.
Yeah, but I feel like kale you gotta cook. I mean,
Oh.
you can use it in a salad.
Now, see, you didn't start with that. You should have started with that, so we didn't have to go through all this.
No, but I figure like John and I, we kind of covered that. Like lots of butter or like some sort of fat, vegan butter, obviously. But like what I do is now it's a cooking show.
Well, hey, that's fine. That's fine. There's something
This is
there.
the cooking segment of the podcast.
Although desperately wish we would talk about some good food here.
Oh.
Hey, now,
Okay.
you know.
I'm gonna-
Hey! Those of you who like the show and have seen me will know that I am no vegan.
I am going to cook you a romantic dinner, Lawrence, and it's just going to knock your socks off.
Okay.
You're going to be eating those words.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I did.
I have personally eaten one of those romantic dinners.
I will say.
We have photographic evidence to prove it. He made
Which,
gnocchi.
by the way, that video is getting so many hits. The game boards we made.
Well, I had to thank you properly.
Yeah. You want comments? You put it on Pornhub.
Or
The
spank
funny
bang.
thing was, you're interested in me, not my wife, and we were both available.
Let me ask about this
You
deal.
said no. You film.
Oh my god! This show went so far off the rails already from the
No,
start.
I'm saying he cooked a kick-ass
But-
meal. It was
okay,
a top,
okay.
I had a top 5 meal that he made.
Okay, I was just about to say I should take that back. I should take back what I said because you made that. You made
The hummus.
the hummus at the You made the I forgot what the hell it was called for some reason. You made the hummus at the party, and I love that shit. So
Yeah.
I should take back what I said. I apologize. I was wrong.
I don't like hummus, but you know what? I made.
But his hummus was delicious. Huh?
I make
What's
amazing
hummus?
hummus.
That's
Ground up chickpeas.
tahini.
Oh yeah. Hey, what's the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? I never paid $100 to have a garbanzo bean on my face.
Oh, this is the Lawrence Watson Show after hours.
You're paying $100?
This is
That's kind of high.
Someone's
neighborhoods
gonna
will
pay
go
for
for
the
free.
asparagus.
Oh god! Only the best for
But,
Jeffrey
yeah,
Trump.
But I don't like hummus. But I made falafel once.
Falafel's hard.
That's lentils, right? Is
Uh,
that also
That's also
garbanzo
chickpeas,
beans?
isn't it?
it's also chickpeas.
Chickpeas. I can't
that are
remember
deep
what
fried.
I know. Yeah, that's what I made.
It's kind of like Mediterranean hush puppies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
I love falafel.
And I think I did it with canned chickpeas.
Which you can't do unless
Oh.
you add a ton of flour.
Okay,
Shit.
that is your first mistake.
Because it will fall apart.
It didn't fall apart. I guess I
Really?
used enough flour.
Yeah. Let's pull it off.
Yeah.
Well done.
How was it?
It was okay. It was fine.
Did you get some baba ganoush too?
I don't know what that is, so no.
Tabbouleh?
It's Baba ganoush is the same thing
Spanakopita?
as hummus, but you replace the chickpeas with eggplant.
I think I could eat that. I like eggplant. I don't like hummus. It tastes like paste to me. Even with the mix-ins.
Well, I don't like store-bought.
Or the texture. I don't like the texture.
So to shift gears slightly.
Why? This is getting very
No,
interesting.
but not really, not entirely. We're still on food.
Only to you.
We're still on food.
All right, so that concludes the cooking. That concludes the vegan cooking segment.
Jeff,
of
I
the
just
podcast.
wanted to mention that Laura still talks about those ribs today.
Well,
She was just mentioning how she missed your ribs.
next time I'm making more ribs, so
Yeah.
that'll get her back. Sooner than she planned.
Well, you
Yeah,
know what?
it'll get her to another dinner party, as John liked to call it. It was a nice dinner party.
That didn't even break out the fine china or anything.
Well, you did call it a dinner party.
We didn't all sit down at the same time.
True.
Well, whatever the hell. I'll tell you what. I had ribs this weekend. They were fucking awful. And so at that
What'd
point,
you do?
Never going to that Applebee's again.
I'm not going to say where it was because this establishment's main mission I'm all in favor of. And off the air, I'll tell you about it. But the ribs are terrible.
Mm.
At that point, I really, really
It's not
missed
like we
Jeff's
have that
ribs.
many local listeners.
Yeah, but I still want people to go to this place. Chicken was excellent. Ribs were terrible. We can edit that out, can't we?
I guess so. Was it Chick-fil-A?
It was not Chick-fil-A. It was a
Okay.
place over that way.
Well,
Oh, okay.
Maybe Jeff needs to take a trip down there and put on a clinic.
Maybe
Maybe.
Jeff does.
Maybe Jeff
Yeah.
should.
But are you used to cooking in bulk?
No.
All right.
In fact, when I made Laura's ribs, that was the most ribs I ever made at once.
And your best.
Hey.
Have to be.
The more I make, the better they get.
So the next time Laura comes over for dinner
Jeff's cooking.
or a cookout, Jeff's cooking and he's cooking ribs. And Tim, you're eating them.
We're having ribs.
Yeah, you'll fall back by that point. It's
You'll have-
inevitable.
You'll have given up on this whole vegan thing.
This phase you're going
Yeah.
through.
the last decade.
Yeah. Only 10 years.
Not necessarily consecutively. But
Well, yeah, I took a break. Yeah, they love.
Yeah, that dog was delicious, let me tell you.
I did eat dog in Korea.
Oh my god.
Well, how was it? How was it?
It was pretty
Yes, how was it?
horrible. It was in soup. I feel like maybe I'm not a soup person, and that's the issue.
The issue wasn't that you were not a dog person, but you're not a soup person.
It wasn't the animal. It was the preparation.
It was entirely how it was presented to
I
me.
mean, they drive the dog out. You
So-
can't do that.
So, like, in Korea,
His
they,
dog's really more of a braising meat.
they think eating dogs like an aphrodisiac. So, like,
Did you get a boner?
no, well, yeah, but I don't think it was from that.
I had one before I ate.
But like, so
I just
they're
walk around with one all the time.
Yeah. So they're always next to whorehouses.
Nice.
Yeah, supposedly. I don't think there was a whorehouse next to the one I
God, I
ate.
should've
And
started
technically,
asking.
it's illegal now in Korea.
Really?
Yeah, I taught older adults English in Korea, and this dude had a horrible story. Like, so it was a conversational English class, and I made them tell like interesting anecdotes about their life. So he told this time about when his mom got sick as a kid, and that so I guess eating dog is supposed to like cure illnesses also.
What can't dog do?
yeah. Brought to you by the Dog Couch.
In the arms
God.
So like his family was like, hey, you got to kill the family dog and feed it to your mom.
Come here, Rover.
Yeah.
Old Yeller too.
So not only that,
Electric Boogaloo.
like they prepare a dog in like the most horrible way. They want to get the adrenaline into the muscles, so they beat it to death.
Oh shit!
Oh, fuck.
So like he had to tie up
That
his
took-
family dog and beat it to death.
Oh
So
my
he's telling
God.
this story to like a group of like 20 people, and we're all just like, oh my god. So
Oh
he
my
tells a
God.
story about beating his own dog to death as a child and feeding it to his mom. And then it's really, really, really quiet.
What if he was laughing the entire time? And then I'm beating the dog, and my mom's dying.
Well, that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be an abusing anecdote about your life. So it's like super quiet for about 10 seconds, and like the one girl in the class, like very quietly, like just out of whisper, was like, "Did your mom live?" and he was like, "No, she died a week later." The worst, best story ever.
Oh, God.
I don't think I've ever heard a worse story than that. and I've watched Neil Breen movies.
I'm trying to prepare them for like cocktail parties to practice their conversation. Yeah, definitely do that one. That would go great.
It reminds me of that bit in Family Guy where Brian's trying to teach Peter how to be a gentleman, and he goes, "Now, try again. A pleasure to meet you. Bob Crane was killed by... Did you know that after Hogan's Heroes, Bob Crane was killed by a man who videotaped him having rough sex? Wow. Great. My work here is done." Oh
Sounds
my
like
God.
Family Guy ripping off autofocus.
Autofocus is a great movie.
Well, Family Guy ripped off pretty much everything.
That's true, especially The Simpsons.
More ways than we can count on this show.
Well, that's a topic for another show.
Is it really?
Maybe.
Well, we have so many topics that
I think we had 3.
well,
We got pens, wasn't?
we were on the Penguins, but then all of a sudden we shifted into beating a dog to death, and I just don't know how we can come back from that without taking a commercial break. So,
and alienating 80% of our audience.
yeah, I'm sure we've alienated everyone, and I don't think I
No,
can.
if there's one thing about your audience that I know is they all hate dogs.
I don't think I can have Tim come back on the show anymore.
It's a niche market, the dog haters.
Our producer's a dog.
So I think this is a opportune time
Oh,
for
yeah.
for a break. I think we need one after hearing about this Korean gentleman who beat his dog to death and then fed it to his mother. So,
Who then died? Nope.
Who then died? Yeah. Who then died a week later. So, I think in the next 45, 50 minutes, however long this show continues to go, which it could go on all night, who knows? But
Well, if we talk about how much we hate dogs, sure.
so,
I'd like to object. I would like to object to this premise. Let's get them, fellas.
We're through the roof with the cat demographic.
guys, cats love our show.
We are number one in cats.
All right, so I think this is a good time for a break. So we'll be right back after this.
Hi, kids. This is Larry Del Dino of Dino's Arcade and Family Fun Center. Kids, a neighbor of mine came up to me the other day and says, "Hey, Dino." My friends call me Dino. He says, "Hey, Dino, I took my boy down to that Chuck E. Cheese's for his birthday, and I can't believe what I paid for it. The pizza tasted like saltines and Prego, there was a Band-Aid in the ball pit, and we go to leave, we see the guy in the rat costume with the head off smoking a cigarette in the parking lot." Kids, at Dino's Arcade and Family Fun Center, you get to be king for a day at your next birthday party, kindergarten through 2nd grade graduation, or first Holy Communion, or equivalent religious milestone. You'll have a blast getting lost in our network of tubes made from 32-inch Schedule 80 PVC pipe. Win prizes playing games at our video arcade. Just write down your score and take it to the prize counter, where you can win anything from a free round of skee ball up to a free game at the air hockey table. And since nobody wants to crawl around and play games on an empty stomach, we offer the full spread of pizza, pop, and birthday cake. Our pizza is house-made from scratch, using real cheese instead of that powder stuff that comes in the box with dough mix, which you, as king for the day, can wash down with a royal crown cola. And did I say birthday cake? Don't worry, kids, I didn't forget the ice cream. At Dino's Arcade and Family Fun Center, we only serve ice cream cake, since we could keep it in the freezer without going stale. Due to concerns from the fire marshal, our mascot, Dino the Dragon, is no longer permitted to blow out the candles. And we got rid of the ball pit after some kid blew chunks in it. Book your party with us and receive a free roll of Dino dimes, good for our arcade games and older model parking meters.
Make a birthday party, Neato,
Hey, Dino!
with Larry Del Dino.
And we're back. So that was a nice break. Tim, you mentioned that. I was just going to put you on the spot immediately, but we can.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Whatever works.
Tim was just coming out to us.
Yeah.
No, I think I was coming on to you.
Oh,
yeah.
well, a little bit of both.
Yeah, you just listened to that Paul McCartney Late Life Crisis song.
Oh, I could tell you about the first time I did cocaine, and there's a come-on story within there that,
We'd
yeah.
kind of like to hear that.
Yeah,
Go-
sexy.
go for it.
So I'd never done cocaine before, and I was in Las Vegas teaching. I had a buddy of mine. I wasn't teaching at the time. I was, but like I was walking into the classroom.
So you were teaching and on cocaine.
Yeah. But like it was a Friday night. I was out with my friend and his wife, and we're partying, we're drinking, we're dancing. You know,
Doing cocaine.
Wait, were these?
not yet.
Was this the couple that was about to get divorced anyway?
No,
Oh,
no.
they get divorced later.
No, they're happily married.
Doing cocaine.
Thanks in part to cocaine. Brought to you by the cocaine.
Brought to you by the National Cooking Council.
No, but
If
we're,
you
like,
want to hang out, you got
we're having fun and we're dancing, and he's like, you know, his wife's dancing with me and whatever. And so, like, he takes me to the bathroom when we're drinking. Well, he didn't take me to the bathroom. I think we just both happened to be pissing at the same time. Hopefully, I don't know.
Hey, you did that
Here,
thing
come
where
with me to the
one
bathroom.
Hey, I'm going to the bathroom.
Come with me.
You coming? You coming?
Yeah.
So I'll make up a fake name.
Donnie.
Don't say a fake name. Just make it up.
Well,
We
what's
won't
the
know.
name? What's a good name for a girl?
Cheryl.
Cheryl. So, oh man, that doesn't sound right. So,
Fine, Sharon.
Sharon, yeah.
So-
it doesn't matter. Vanessa, who cares?
he's like talking to me. He's like, you know what? Like, man, me and Justina, we've just really been.
So he went with Justina.
Yeah, we've been married for a long time, and it's been a really great year, and we're just more and more open to trying new things and doing different stuff, and like experimenting a bit. And I tap him on the shoulder, and I say, Joey,
I will fuck your wife.
Yeah, I did. Joey,
that's why I thought this was
I would be honored to have a threesome with you and your wife. and then he pulls out a thing of cocaine. He's like, "No, man, I was going to ask if you wanted to do some cocaine."
Yeah,
that too, or both, or about both.
So your friend was Brett Kavanaugh then?
Yeah,
we'll do the cocaine and see where the night goes.
Yeah, they turned me down.
So not Brett Kavanaugh.
And his wife got to have on her side the cool kind of threesome, and she still wasn't into it.
I don't know.
What's wrong with you, huh?
Yeah. What is this happening to me?
It's not like they were
a nice married couple.
It's not like they were asking me to do a threesome with him. Tim, you're well put together.
You sell yourself short.
Well, of course I do. That's the gimmick.
Double team a girl with you, Lawrence. We'll just find someone and
I'll videotape.
I don't think Laura would be into that.
Oh, that's right. Well, the groundwork's already set up.
We're halfway there.
Halfway there. We've had this discussion before about stuff like this. We've discussed everything. Not whether or not she wanted to have sex with you, Tim, but
I just assume everyone has that conversation.
Hey, Brad, how about Tim? Hey, Brad, how about Tim? Tim? Huh?
Laura, do you want to have sex with Tim and me?
I swear to God.
Oh, you're doing the Jeff.
I was doing the Jeff. I could.
Lawrence, what's the story with that friend of yours, Tim?
And now she's no longer listening. She's mad at me.
Oh, yeah.
She's mad at me for this one. I just know it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not sure whether I'll just edit that whole part out or...
No, leave it in and apologize your ass off.
Well, you know how you can make it up to her, Lawrence.
Let her have sex.
Little slice of Tim.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. This episode has been so off the rails and so much fun.
I only have sex with people in long-term relationships.
Well, this makes for me.
This makes me feel like I'm drinking again. These are the kind of conversations I'd have when I did LSD. Yes, Timmy, I used to drop acid. I was a wild and crazy guy.
I read a book about acid.
You're not the only one.
No, Friday's gonna be on your ass.
Acid's supposed to be great, though. It's supposed to be able to treat a lot of depression and end of life care. They're thinking of legalizing it for
They said about mushrooms
care.
Too.
Yeah, same sort of deal.
Now we're heading to Joe Rogan territory.
Yeah.
Well,
we all know it's a conspiracy with the UFOs. That's like
he's gonna have Alex Jones on. We have our own Alex Jones. We have Jeff.
I love Joe Rogan, and I'll agree with everything he says. And then I'm like, oh man, this is really cool and insightful. And then it's just random conspiracy right in the middle of it.
I want to say that it's funny to me, and it was funny to me that people take Joe Rogan so seriously. Because it's like, well, man, Joe Rogan, man, they take him so seriously one way or the other. When it's like, all this guy ever was he's a UFC commentator, and before that, he was the least interesting character on a late '90s sitcom. So, News Radio, by the way.
News Radio.
Yeah,
I was trying to remember the
I
name.
like News Radio.
Everybody should watch that
With
show.
Stephen Root.
Yeah, Stephen Root.
Underrated actor
Hartman.
Stephen Root.
Yeah, Phil Hartman was in it. John Lovitz after he was murdered, which
Lovitz was murdered? Oh, no.
yeah, those were. We don't talk about that year.
What if he wasn't? Just no one noticed.
Well, he was in it I think three times before he took over for Phil.
He was murdered 3 times.
Yeah, Phil was murdered 3 times. No, Lovitz was murdered 3 times.
Lawrence,
Nice. Hold on.
sentence structure.
Yeah. So Lovitz guest appeared on the show 3 times before Hartman was murdered, and he replaced him.
There you go. Oh, he's talking some sense.
Which is
Stay
a
off
first.
the acid, son.
Which is a first for the show. Magic mushrooms and the acid and the marijuana. That was all I really ever did.
Now,
Other than drink.
would you consider that the same part of your sobriety, the acid and the mushrooms?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I stopped doing all that stuff. I actually stopped doing that stuff before I quit drinking. Just because I was bored with it.
See, I think the better way to go probably would have been stop drinking and continue to do the acids and mushrooms.
I don't know, maybe. I got off of it because that was right around the time I met Laura, and she was like, I'm not comfortable with you doing this. So I stopped for her, and
But she's like 5,000 miles away.
yeah, she was 9,000 miles away most of the
Or
time.
9,000. That's even more than 5,000.
Don't you have a globe?
But
What are you? There's a scale on there. You measure distances on a globe. You ever done that?
Nah, not really.
Exactly.
That's the thing that's always on the social studies worksheet that the teacher always tells you don't bother doing. Like, there's always the one question that's like, here's the scale, measure it between these two distances.
But it's
Yeah, don't worry
it's
about
like
that.
from Philadelphia to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Not, around the curvature of the earth.
Yeah.
yeah.
As the crow flies. Net that out.
Nope.
Nope, we're leaving it in, John. If I have to be an asshole, so do you. So getting back on point here.
Yes, I
We don't
want to.
have
I
one.
feel like there was more to the cocaine.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh, yeah, we had a story going.
We had a
Oh.
story going about cocaine, and I would like to hear the story about the cocaine.
That was the story.
That was
The
it?
story
You
was that you did cocaine.
Boo!
No, it's
How did it end?
Well, Jeff kind of ruined the ending because, like, I thought he
Jeff
was.
ruined the ending.
Yeah. I thought he was saying he wanted to have a threesome with me.
Hey, I wasn't the only one
And he was
thinking
just-
that.
He was just offering me.
No, you
cocaine.
weren't.
That means I set it up well, then, right? That
Yeah,
people could
But you set it up so
foreshadow
well that Jeff ruined the story.
You set up
Yeah,
so
I
well that
think
everybody
you
saw the
gave it
punchline
away.
coming.
ahead. Gave it away. I need to work on
Great
that
job,
one.
Tim.
Yeah.
You need to be more ambiguous.
Yeah, don't do
that
cocaine.
story.
Cocaine's stupid.
It's also illegal.
Oh,
Yes, folks,
shit,
it is very
huh?
illegal. You shouldn't do it.
Shit, that's illegal.
But,
Yeah.
the things we've talked about here today, I say here on the Lawrence Watson Show After Dark,
Well, you know what,
After hours.
what will get you to stop doing cocaine is
I never did cocaine.
well, we're all worried about you, and I think to stop. What worked for me to stop doing cocaine?
Okay.
So my one friend was like going.
You went to South Korea and heard the story about the woman beating her
Yeah.
dog to death.
Yeah, but my one friend was like going through a tough time. It was doing like way too much coke, and I wasn't like, for whatever reason, like I wasn't drinking, I wasn't partying, I wasn't doing anything, but we were still hanging out. And he asked me to like hang out at the bar and DD him for a night of like a cocaine bender, and that will be like cocaine. You will immediately think cocaine's stupid. Like, so it's like 5 a.m. and he's like, "Where we go, man? Let's go." And then like we walk into the bar and there's like 3 people and he's like, "Yeah, man, this is good. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." And there's like 3 people in there.
So that he was just Robin Williams.
That's
Yeah,
That's
is
gotta be
Robert
encouraging
Williams.
because you go to a place, there's 3 people there, and it seems awesome.
Yeah,
That's supposed to discourage you
but
from
then
doing drugs.
he was also like, "What's the matter, Tim? You look tired." And it's like, I haven't done like.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning, goddammit.
Yeah, fucking so.
3 a.m. I'm tired, man. I didn't want to do cocaine with you.
I gotta teach in 45 minutes, man.
Those little bastards. It's weird, man, with teachers with addictions. And it reminds me of my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. White, who had to run out of the
Huge
classroom.
cokehead.
She wasn't a cokehead. It's just that she smoked cigarettes.
Asking the kids if they're holding.
She had to leave the room every 15 minutes to smoke a cigarette. She'd run outside.
There
was
was not a
great.
teacher alive today, though. Get away with it.
She,
I hope
she was
not.
she was standing outside in the
I think
grass
she's still
with the
alive.
window open, pointing at the chalkboard.
Yeah. All right, kids.
9 times 3.
She was like one of the younger teachers, too. I know you guys went to the other school, but
The better school.
the better school. Well,
Yeah, the one that still exists, man.
I would agree that I am probably dumber. I mean, look at me. I do this podcast.
Well,
We're dumb for agreeing to do it with you.
Yeah, that makes 4 of us there,
Yeah,
pal.
4 of us. They're idiots.
Well, what are you going to do?
I don't know. This should probably end the podcast.
Best closing.
And the best finish of
What about our big musical number?
our big musical number.
Tune in next week for the big musical number.
A week-long break between podcasts. That would be a record for this show.
So what was the original list of topics?
Yeah, I feel like we only did one of them.
Well, I did have Pens, I did have Steelers, and I was going to bring up the murder of that Saudi journalist in Turkey.
Do it.
But now I've totally lost track. But
I
we
don't
can.
know. This is some like heavy
this
current events type stuff.
Yeah, and it
Human
doesn't
rights
really fit with this
violation.
episode at this point. It would be wrong to just
Well, that took a right turn, didn't it?
this mood whiplash on this show is
All right, put it away. Put it away.
yeah.
It would be like we did the one show where we're all having fun and joking around and laughing. Then we start talking about the black kid that got killed in Pittsburgh.
Which was sad.
Oh yeah,
I'm
remember
sure.
that? Yeah.
So then we
Yeah,
ended the show on a
On a
very
down.
serious.
So maybe that
No.
could be the podcast thing. Like it just
Yeah, but when I listened
just
to it,
dies
that's
at
why I
the end.
deleted like
It just
most
dies
of
at the end. Like shit, I'm not listening to this
Yeah.
Oh,
anymore.
I guess we can all go home now.
A very special episode. We talk about cocaine, but we were talking about Timmy's experience with cocaine, which was much more interesting.
We did the story about the kid feeding his dog into his mom.
Mother.
Dying mom
You know
who
what?
died.
You know what? If you edit that right,
That could be done seriously, but us laughing all the way through.
Well, we edit it and put it at the end, so everyone sort of never listened to this
and so
dog
he pulls
killing
out
show
this,
again.
and so he pulls out this vial of cocaine, and then he tells a story about hitting his
Whoa,
dog.
mix the two together.
Oh man, we're so spiking the board with the laughter, and I even turn it, but that's okay.
And I think he wants to have a threesome with me and his dog.
So then he tells the story, and I'm like, man, this gangbang's never going to recover.
Well, man, you bummed me out.
So there's,
I almost lost my erection.
see what I mean? The topics I had just don't cut it for this one. You people should just
You people?
What do you mean, you
people?
I mean, you morons should just.
Point taken.
I mean, you guys really got to warn me. You guys got to warn me next time that we're going to be telling stories about beating dogs to death and feeding them to parents. Or
What's
when
better
that
than
time
that?
we did cocaine. Let's have a threesome with our wives.
Well, with our wives.
Yeah, with Timmy.
Wouldn't that be... with me.
Yeah, let's all our wives have a threesome
Well,
with Timmy.
Well,
You
then
know,
that's more like
You
a...
did cook for us, you know.
That's more of a group grope, right? If all at the same time, because then that's a one.
But
two,
it
three,
would
four,
be.
five, six.
It,
That's a 7.
It's
cell.
not gonna be an orgy.
Yeah,
Yeah, at that point it's just an orgy.
I was going to say separately.
Oh, man, that's all.
You stepped all over it. I was going to say separately, but that's okay. But that's okay. I had the best words.
It's a lot of pressure.
No, but
Well, Tim,
you got to
I mean-
maintain your erection each time too.
You know
Well,
what? When I get home tonight,
You
I'm gonna
guys
run it
are
by
going to
the-
be like comparing experiences too.
It's-
Like, how was Tim and your threesome?
It'd be like what was that episode of Futurama where they capture Fry and Zap Brannigan and Kif and they try to snoo them to death.
Snoo.
I had snoo, and Zap's like, I had snoo, and they've like broken their pelvises.
We sentence them to death by snoo.
And the whole time, Kif was like, so if I may, just what, you gay? I feel like that's a joke that didn't age well now.
That's still funny.
It is funny, but
Not in public.
yeah.
That's one thing watching The Simpsons. There's watching it now, I notice a lot more like gay jokes in it. Like they're not like
Well,
straight up gay jokes, but
but the thing is that so they had the episode where with John Waters
Yeah.
who plays John, who is gay, and the whole idea is that Homer
Is a buffoon.
finds out that he's gay,
Yeah.
doesn't like it, but that's not portrayed in a positive light.
Is it? I don't know.
No, it's not.
No, Homer's attitude is not portrayed in a positive.
Oh, his
Right.
attitude is.
That's
but
what I.
think
That's
it's
what
a
I
good
mean.
episode.
That's what I mean. Homer's homophobia.
Yeah.
Actually, what is that?
Yeah,
What's
he
the
is
name of the
homophobic.
episode?
Homer's phobia.
Homer's phobia. Yeah,
Homophobia.
There-
he's homophobic.
There is that one where he goes to the lesbian bar and he's looking for the bar. And he's like, wait a minute.
This
there's
lesbian
no fire."
bar doesn't have a fire in it.
Yeah.
Enjoy your death trap, ladies. What was her problem?
Oh, so I had a thought and I just lost it. I don't know.
You need something to close it out though. You need
I know.
We've had some laughs. We had some fun. We drank some beers and talked about everyone on the Lawrence Watson Show. On the Lawrence Watson Show.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Lawrence Watson Show. One more time, the Lawrence Watson Show. I really mean it. The Lawrence Watson Show. Lawrence Watson Show.
Now, see, I can't run the click remover now for that because it shows up on the thing as a click. So
I was getting a beer. Did I miss something?
No, no, you didn't miss anything. Tim.
No, we're gonna have that out anyway.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we
How
didn't
long
do
is it?
It's only
It's
an
only
hour.
been an hour.
It's over an hour. We had it after.
People like an
and
hour.
when I edit it,
It will
well,
be
I've
down
heard
to-
people like
If
somebody
you
told me
edit
that
it
the
down,
perfect.
it'll be down to like 60 minutes.
Somebody told me they said that the perfect length of the episode was an hour and 20. So try to keep, between an hour and 20 and an hour and a half. So I like to record for at least an hour and 40. So we have. I didn't want to, but I mean, I had the topic and it was so serious. Now we can't go to it
If we're gonna do heavy topics like that, we should do it at the
beginning. Yeah, but I mean, it just started.
Move
So
that heavy
That will
light.
really draw people in.
That's a good point because then they'll be like
the murder of a
"Fuck
journalist.
this."
We do not have fun on this program. Well, I mean, what I
You need a hook, right?
Yeah.
You need it.
we are a very serious.
Well, all
program.
right. How about this? So Tim's story about the dead dog and the dead mom. I mean, that was funny. So maybe we could talk about the dead journalist, and that'll be funny too.
I mean, that's probably that Saudi Death Squad. That's probably like it's kind of the same situation. They're like, oh, we beat him too much.
So they
Whoops.
but I know they dismembered this fellow.
Sounded
Anyway,
right to me.
So they dismembered this fellow. So now I'm wondering after
Does that mean
Tim's
they cut his
story with-
dick off?
I guess so. I mean, they cut him into little
They're
pieces.
Saudis. They
So that made me wonder whether or not they also fed this person to their mothers to get them well.
No, because he's not halal.
He's not halal.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
This isn't nice.
No, this has been a terrible episode.
I thought we were actually talking about this.
It was a good episode.
It was a good episode. This is the best episode we've ever done, right up until that point. When we were talking about drugs and eating dogs, I mean, we were right there, man.
Threesomes with people's wives.
Threesomes
And
with wives, and
we had the sex, the drugs.
I always thought
We haven't
your
had the
show
rock
was
and
missing
roll.
threesomes.
We haven't had the rock and roll.
we haven't had the rock. and
All
roll.
right. You know what? I'm glad Tim is here. Tim, I want you to explain to the audience why the Beatles are overrated.
Oh man, you always put me on the spot with this.
Well, we've had the sex.
You've been
we've had
harping the
drugs.
same point since we've known each other.
I think you've been harping on the same point. I think I got drunk once and might have said that the Beatles might be slightly overrated.
So this is where
Oh,
Laura
now-
tunes
now-
back in.
Okay, now you're backing off.
I'm backing off a little bit.
Why are you backing off?
Because he knows he's in front of a hostile crowd here, but
He's
I
just
should
speaking to
tell
two
him.
countries right
Come
now.
on, Timmy, stick to your guns.
should-
You've
I-
done it before.
Well,
I should
honestly,
say, Laura has tuned back in just for this because she is also of this opinion.
yeah. And
and is
honestly,
right with you probably.
I
right
feel
now.
like I can't have like an amazing opinion about it because like I haven't sat down and listened to like every single. I'm not like a Beatles maniac. Like I know their songs and stuff, but like I don't have their whole catalog, and I haven't like watched like all the documentaries and things like that. But for me, it's just like maybe it's like just a tiny bit basic. Like if you're like into music, it's almost like it's an easy out to say that you like the Beatles. It doesn't really show that you're that like just like
I never
I
said
like
I
the
was into
Beatles.
music. I just like the Beatles.
Well, I remember back when there was like MySpace music.
Hmm.
Remember that?
Yes.
And there would be these bands, and they would just be like these shitty like
Emo
type
bands,
bands. Yeah.
My
and,
Chemical
and every
Romance
single
and all
one of them
that
would be like
crap.
influence. The Beatles,
Yeah,
Led
yeah,
Zeppelin,
exactly.
the Beach Boys.
Yeah, so like I mean,
but we sound nothing like any of them.
the Beatles are almost as good as Taking Back Sunday, but like, they're not just quite there. I mean, have you heard "Cute Without the E," John?
Oh my god.
In
That's a
parentheses,
song?
in parentheses, cut from the team.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Poor boy didn't make Little League.
Yeah,
You know, this reminds me of what I just
Poor
thought
boy
of.
had a girl break up with him.
yeah, when he was like 16. We should just review emo albums from like the early 2000s.
Well, it's all 5 stars. I mean,
Yeah, it's
That's
all
like
all the greatest hits.
That's like the greatest music of all time.
Me in my feelings.
That's way too deep, John.
no, that really speaks to me.
There's some like the Used were good.
Actually, you know what? One of my favorite quotes is actually from a friend of ours. And he was talking about Death Cab for Cutie.
That's not emo, but okay.
Without
And
the
he
E.
said, nobody wants to hear some pussy with an acoustic guitar singing about his fucking feelings.
Unless it's John Lennon.
Well, I have my complaints about John Lennon. However, brings us back to
I
Tom.
mean, Yesterday is a pretty emo song. Yesterday.
That's Paul McCartney.
Well, yeah, but even still, it's a
the
Beatles
working
song.
title of that song was Scrambled Eggs until he found out something that worked that made it into a song. If you knew
If
a
you knew the
little bit.
story,
Well,
if
you
you
would
would
understand.
just pay a little bit of attention to the evolution of the
if you-
songwriting.
if you knew the
yeah,
backstory
exactly. If
to
you knew the
Cute
backstory,
Without
Cute
the
Without
E.
That's what I was just gonna say. You don't know these emo songs' backstories,
Very deep.
so you're giving all the credit to the Beatles and their backstories, but you don't know anything. about
I'm pretty
the
sure
Beatles,
the
so.
Beatles copied Taking Back Sunday.
Total ripoff. I listened to the two bands. I can't tell the difference.
Oh God. So
That's not a bad idea.
we should tell people to listen to the two bands and tell us.
Yeah.
Emo
I
songs
defy
are
you to
used.
tell me the difference between
Yes.
the Beatles and Taking Back
All of
Sunday.
you people.
Okay,
who are
let's
listening still.
compare A Day in the Life versus Cut My Heart in the Heart.
My heart in the heart.
Is that a real song?
I don't know, I made it up.
What we should do, it should be a segment with John and I, where like we just pick.
You're just
songs.
trying to hijack the show now.
Yeah, but it should just
We're
be.
trying to promote 5 paragraphs, damn it.
Well, we kind of need to have like opposite people do this, and we need to pick songs that you know I will hate, and I'll pick a song that I know you'll hate,
Okay.
and then we have to listen to each other's songs.
And Lawrence, this is your show. You're the mediator.
Yeah, you're the mediator
I have to be the I have to
of us
mediate.
fighting.
I'm sorry, moderator.
The
That's more
moderator,
professional.
yeah.
How about this? We all read a book, like a literary classic, and we discuss it on the show.
Overseas.
we could. I mean, we could. That would
That would take
up
me,
the sophistication level of this program by
But then we'd be
100,000
doing a
notches.
show every year because I don't think any of us really read that much.
I do read
fast
a lot
enough.
though, but
Yeah.
most of what I read is nonfiction.
In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me a piece of advice that I've been turning over my mind ever since.
Get all the pussy you can.
Son, he said, it's all pink on the inside.
I did the closing line.
Never
from-
turn down a fat girl.
That sounds like Winston Churchill's self-description. Or actually Franklin Roosevelt's description of Winston Churchill when
Well,
he said
it's his damn park, isn't it?
Yeah. FDR tried to back out quickly, and Churchill said, "No, come right in. We have much to discuss, you and I. We have a war to win." So
Put some
afterward,
pants on, sir.
so afterward, FDR said to somebody,
I hope he was drunk too.
Churchill, he probably
Yeah.
was.
That was his thing.
Well, there was a video on YouTube that talked about that actually somebody drank all of what Churchill drank in a day.
Oh,
And he was
God.
wasted by the end of the day, even though it
Wow.
really wasn't all that much.
Yeah.
But this person had such a low tolerance, I think, for alcohol.
I bet it was a lot of liquor.
It was,
Yeah.
What?
it was a lot of brandy.
It wasn't a joke. I figured he drank a lot of liquor.
Yeah, he did. It was a lot of
All
brandy.
right, why don't
He
you...
had some girth though, so I'm sure he could.
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you just run
Nice.
Winston Churchill's drinking schedule?
I would have to watch the video again.
Ah, damn it! All right,
But anyway, I did see the video. He drank a lot of brandy. I remember that.
dude, drink at breakfast.
Yeah. And then he would have a nap, and then he would drink again.
Oh man,
So anyway,
that sounds rough.
That's the
My
life.
life is
that's
kind
the
of
fucking
awesome.
life.
Yeah.
in between stops giving speeches in the House of Commons, he would drink. So afterward, after Roosevelt had this discussion with a naked Winston,
Gives an all new meaning to Scotch eggs, am I right?
Oh, hey.
Oh.
Good night, everybody.
all right.
afterward he said to somebody, he said, "You know, he's pink and white all over," which is horrible. That's a horrible visual that we've unleashed on our listeners.
He had a big pink belly.
He did, yeah, but I mean, the white was what I was getting over.
And a white cock.
I
Well,
picture
pubes,
him
I
so
was getting-
covered in
Oh,
oils.
all
White
salty.
pubes, yeah.
Oh.
Pink and white pew.
the
Glitter.
pubes were pink. He dyed his pubes. He was a stripper by day. By day he was prime minister. By evening he was a stripper.
Just like the great late Earl Warren.
The white was
You're
just the
all-
crabs.
Everybody had crabs in those days.
Churchill had the crabs.
Everybody got laid. Everybody had crabs.
This is like that episode when we talked about Benjamin Franklin taking air baths.
He probably had the crabs too.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
I feel sorry for like all like the women that had to have sex with like Winston Churchill. God and country. But like you figure he was probably like
an award to win.
he's probably like having a ton of affairs. But like
I'm sure
I
they
don't,
all did, yeah.
yeah, I don't get that. Like I don't get how like if you're a woman like you can pull off having sex with like a Donald Trump.
It's
But
kind of like
some
just
For money. For money.
Yeah,
For
but
money.
some women like legitimately seem to
For $150,000 worth
to
of hush
enjoy
money.
that sort of
Because he's
guy.
a powerful man. Even
Yeah.
before
Money
he was
and
president,
power.
he was a powerful man.
Yeah.
You know, he had his big businesses and
he was a
whatever.
guy that had appeared on things. I mean,
Yeah.
that's basically who he was.
But even in the 80s, you know, powerful man. So
No.
And he had a
women
much
wanted
better
to have sex
barber
with him
back
because
in
he was a
those
powerful man who had a lot of money.
Yeah.
days. So that's why he had to mail order all his brides.
no, just two of them.
Yeah, just two.
The first and the third.
The second one was he got from here.
We wanted to pick a chick that couldn't speak English, so she'd shut the fuck up
Wait.
and do as she's told.
I didn't know that.
That's like
about him.
what's the best part of having a blowjob is 10 minutes of silence.
So like really mail order?
Not really, but
Not
you know.
really, no.
I'm exaggerating for humor.
Yeah.
It was the immigrants. If
This
it was
is
the
a
bears, I knew it
humorous
was the
show.
immigrants.
See, I always thought it was funny that he's always on about these immigrants, but he's the one that gets all these foreign wives.
Oh, you're talking about Trump. I thought you
Yeah.
were talking about Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill didn't have a mail order bride. He got her from. Was his wife American too, or is that his dad's? Doesn't
I
matter.
have no idea.
Doesn't matter. It's not our country.
I'm not worried about.
some English listener or Welsh listener or
Down in
Scotch
England.
listener can
Yeah,
correct me.
we're down in England.
Down there in England, wasn't that the Scott Paulson story where he talked about I was in France and it was very lovely and everyone was speaking French and then all of a sudden I heard behind me, "Hey, Scott Paulson, what are you guys doing in Paris?"
What are you doing up here? You're up here or down here?
Up there or down there?
Up or down?
Oh, what?
You're either up or down.
Timmy, you've lived in the city how long now? You haven't learned the vernacular? Well, we know Tim's a world traveler, so maybe it's all unfamiliar to him anymore.
What?
Pittsburghese, man. Pittsburghese. You're an interesting... Yeah.
Oh, yes. Traveling the world.
Well, you did travel to Korea and watch and listen to the story about some guy who beat his dog to death.
What's
You
that?
also
Is there any other good stories you have for us?
You almost
about-
said watch, which is like, no, I didn't even get to watch it, which is like,
Yeah, I
it's
did
a
almost
bummer.
say watch.
All
You
that
did
time
eat dog,
wasted.
dog soup. Have you any
You asked
other
the
good
kid.
stories?
You asked the kid to take pictures.
Dude, the Chinese porn collection.
Oh, that was weird. That's like a really short story, but like,
But
Sounds
hey,
amazing.
we have all the time in the world.
well, like I moved to China to teach in this like crappy. Well, it wasn't crappy. It was like a private tutoring company, sort of BS teach English to kids thing, and they had to find me like an apartment. So they got me an apartment across the street. It was falling apart. Beautiful city called Hangzhou. But like I moved in there and it, it's all empty. But then like some of the cabinets still had shit in it. And I just got the impression like by the stuff like in the cabinets and by everyone else in the building that like a really old person lived there and like kicked it. So like
It happens,
yeah. Old people die.
They die.
Really?
We don't know-
Alarming numbers, really.
Yeah.
We don't know why it happens. It's
There
something we
seems to
should.
be some
There's
sort
a
of
government should
correlation.
do something about it.
epidemic.
Yeah. So like I was like, oh, I forget maybe John you can remember. There was something that endeared me to this old guy that I thought was living there. Like I thought it was like
I'll tell you what
really
it was.
sweet.
He was foreign and old.
Well, no, yeah, but I think there was
I
something.
mean, to you anyway.
Yeah, but I think there was something cute like I found in one of the cabinets. Like maybe it was like a family picture or there was something that I'm just like, oh, a cute old guy lived here.
The butt plug.
Well, that's where.
Anal beads.
So, like, I have a picture of like this loving old grandfather that like passed away, and now I'm living in his crappy Chinese apartment. But then
shack.
one day, I looked above the shelf. Like, you know how like there's always that really big top shelf thing, like usually above the stove that no one goes into. They have those in China too.
Really?
Yeah. That
They're
was
just everywhere.
everywhere.
It's an epidemic.
They got it.
Too many top shelves these days.
Yeah.
Oh, I lived across from a Subway and a McDonald's, which was weird. I was living in China. I'd literally eat at Subway like a couple times a week. But I opened it up and there's just a stack of CDs. And I'm like, oh, what are these CDs? All Eastern European hardcore porn. So like,
Do you have an estimate of how many CDs there were?
like that many.
And for those listening at home, that's about 9 inches.
It approximately the size of Lawrence's cock.
No,
If you had 8.5 inches, I guess.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I did.
Question number
Question
number
one.
2. Question number 2. Does the Subway in China have the 6-inch meatball sub?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think they might, but that's such like a regional one. Like not regional. It's such like a United States thing. Like McDonald's was pretty much the same. Everyone talks about like going to a McDonald's.
How
in a different
many?
country.
How many yuan? That's their currency, right? Is the $5 footlong?
I was about to ask that too.
Probably way more. And there was a Pizza Hut.
7 million yuan foot long.
5 million.
Dude, but Pizza Hut's actually a ritzy restaurant in China.
Ooh.
Like it's a sit-down restaurant and it's
Wow.
really fancy.
Their
Wow.
waiters wear ties and shit.
Yeah, Henry, can you get on the the Pizza Hut in China?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Henry.
Yeah.
Put it up on the.
So how often have we actually addressed our producer in this show?
Never.
Tim, you're just breaking down all sorts of barriers to our program.
This is not the format, damn it!
Well, we waved bye-bye to that long ago.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm having so much fun. Oh, my God. I've been having so much fun with these stories.
Well, Timmy, welcome back anytime.
Well, we'd love to have you back. But
Tim was appearing at the Improv on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
'Cause I wanna
show
hear-
on Saturday, and it gets a little blue.
'Cause I want to hear more about foreign fast food.
see,
Honestly, when people talk about foreign countries, that's all I care about.
is
I
there
want
fast
to know what the American fast food chains that are abroad,
The best
what they're
was-
like.
The best was when I taught in Palestine, though, because, like, all those places, like, you couldn't get, like, the real Western... Like, Burger King's not going to open up, like, a Burger King in the Gaza
Why not?
Yeah. Or, like, the West Bank. So, what you could do, though, is, like, you'd have Palestinian, like, restaurants that would just blatantly rip off Western fast food restaurants.
The Burger Style King.
The Burger King.
The Burger King.
And there was a KFC. It was not a KFC, but they called themselves KFC.
Did they serve the Palestinian chicken?
Oh.
Like on,
I don't know. I was
like a Curb Your
vegetarian, so,
Enthusiasm?
yeah. It was all shawarma. Well, it wasn't shawarma. It was
Shawarma?
falafel for me.
Yeah, you bitch.
Oh, man. I had my falafel dudes, man. I had...
After I was talking about making falafel, I called him a little bitch.
I miss falafel stands.
I'll make you some.
Yeah.
This is
apparently.
America.
Yeah.
We have hush puppies.
Well, you know the
Yeah.
problem with falafel in the United States, though, is so what you're supposed to do is you cut the pita open and you open it up and you put the falafel in it. No one wants to do that in Pittsburgh for some reason.
I just ate it with like some kind of sauce that I made. I don't remember what it was, but I made some kind of sauce.
Sounds god awful.
You know what the sauce was like? I didn't have a pita. That's
Just
all.
like a barbecue.
It was
falafel.
Yeah, you put the Kraft Italian dress on there. It's fine. Yeah, if it's a special occasion, use a Marzetti.
Jeff had his falafel with ranch. Very American.
I like that Newman sauce. You know, it's all right.
Actually, I could see falafel and blue cheese.
We're just gonna have to fucking imagine it, Tim.
Well, it
I guess
depends
so.
how you season the falafel. I mean, it's a very neutral flavor. You can put anything on it, really,
Yeah.
depending on how you season it.
What about salt and pepper?
Once again,
What a
very
man,
neutral.
what a man.
You put anything on it. Put mustard on it.
Yellow mustard.
No, spicy brown. Get out of here. You're yellow. It's Bush League.
Nah, man, Dijon. Dijon.
No.
This is Bush League.
The Chinese mustard you get in those little packets that taste like gasoline. That's the best.
Duck sauce.
Duck sauce.
It's an Asian Middle Eastern fusion.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love the fact that we spent most of this podcast talking about food.
That's fine.
Like,
all right.
Yeah.
People like food.
I like food.
I
Look at
hate
me.
food.
I like that food there. I like when it goes in your mouth and you chew it up and then you swallow and then you shit it out later. I like all that.
Especially the shitting part. It's
I
so
The
don't-
satisfying.
whole
Oh, yeah.
experience.
Those gigantic 10-pound turds.
This is
Hey, you taking a public bathroom.
Whoa, this is a family show.
Yeah, this was a real family show when he was talking about them beating that dog to death.
Kids got to learn about taking care of their elders.
It's a story
And the
about
mortality of pets.
responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Circle of
It's the
life.
same as Old Yeller. I don't see the difference.
They ate the dog at the Old Yeller, right?
Yeah, and they all got the hydrophobia.
Airbud. Dog dying Airbud.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same plot as Airbud.
Wait, I
He
didn't
tore his
see,
ACL. That put him down.
I didn't see Airbud.
Didn't just call it
Thanks,
scholarship.
asshole.
Well, remember Homeward Bound at the end? The one
Oh, yeah,
the Golden Retriever
he's
is
in the-
limping?
Yeah.
What do you think happened after that? They shot him. He was no good anymore.
Hey, you know that maybe
They weren't going to pay all those expensive vet bills for his stupid foot.
you know in the movie he's voiced by Don Amici, who died immediately after that. I smell a conspiracy.
But Don Amici was actually killed by Jack Ruby.
Because the dog that played him was too old and the audience didn't want to be confused. It was actually George Soros who.
Has he still got his podcast?
No. Might be still hawking his wares, though.
That the movie Sally Field actually murdered Ted Stryker.
Oh my god! That's a joke on so many levels. So many layers to that joke. That was a great gag. I loved it. Jeff, you win. You win tonight's prize. Oh my god. Okay, so
Well, we padded this episode, didn't we?
a little bit, but there's so much for me to edit now. So
That's always good. When you
Yeah,
have a
but-
lot to edit up, that's a good sign.
So this episode will probably, I can look at my timer right now. It says an hour and a half, which is about the length that we won our show. But I mean,
Unfortunately,
We
we're
can
going to
be
hear
done.
everything.
yeah,
get
I'm just not going to edit anything out, folks. You're just going to hear the whole damn thing. Every mistake,
Don't
every-
torture the people
Oh.
like that.
I
No,
can tell you the podcast idea.
Okay, I'd like to hear about it.
Okay.
Before we sign off and I hawk where you can listen to us for the first 5 or 6 minutes and then never listen again because the show has gone off the rails
Hey,
so badly.
I think this one you might get like one more viewer.
All right. You
It's
can
like,
listen to it.
I'll listen to it.
Yeah. All right, one extra
Maybe
listener.
two.
Episode 6, how did I do?
That'll be the thing. How did I do?
Yeah. But the podcast,
Because on YouTube, I put little
the
tag
rating
lines.
things.
Yeah,
Hmm.
little taglines.
Huh.
Like the fourth episode, I distinctly remember that was the first one I did it for. We talked about George Washington's VD, so that was the tagline.
Well,
Episode
can-
5, we're running on fumes.
Yeah,
It's not a joke, that was the actual title.
yeah.
Can this one be like something about beating dogs to
It probably will be. It probably will be. to tell you
Dead
the
dogs and mothers. Dead dogs and hungry mothers.
It's a coming of age tale. If I was ever a millionaire, I would make that a movie.
Oh,
That
I
would
want
be
to
a
make. I want to
picture.
write that movie now.
Yeah.
Just I want to experience life through this little boy as he
You
grows up.
really-
You know, it's the rite of
With-
passage in
with-
Korea.
with
to feed
PTSD.
your dog to death and feed it to your dead mom.
I want to see like Lawrence needs to move to like a tiny Korean like town.
No, he doesn't.
So- live there for like 6 months to get the feel. Like you'd have
And
to
then
be
make the
such
movie,
a
yeah.
I
I do
couldn't
have
do
a
it.
film degree, so
I couldn't do it though. You need to know so much about Korean culture to pull it off. But like that would be an amazing film and the best ending ever. Because it could start with like the class and him telling the story, then you flash back into him growing up.
yeah. That's the same idea. That's the same thing I was thinking of. And then at the end, we go forward as he's now a little old man as he finishes his story, and the whole class is silent. And then the girl speaks up and said, "Did she live?" And then we cut to black. We don't want to know. It's just going to be the mystery.
Or you just see like
Yes.
the weird flashbacks going back
Yeah.
and forth and his mom died with like a tear going down his eye.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my god, it would be
Leave-
such
it'd be
a
so-
great
Gotta do the
movie.
thing where you
It'd be
leave the ending
art.
to interpretation.
So, it'd be so arty. Just you pull it in.
But you would pull in so much like Korean history too, because he was living in a time when like the Korean economy was like tanked, and like he literally could like possibly starve to death. So like it would be a really interesting film. But then like
Wouldn't that be hilarious if the kid like
Would
he
it
had
be
a- he actually had a
hilarious?
ton of food in the house, but he knew his mom was gonna die anyway, so he's like, "Fuck it, I'll just chop up the dog."
Henry looks so pissed off.
Once
And
she's
he's
gone, I
glaring
won't
at
have
us.
anything, so
Our producer,
I gotta save up.
our producer,
I
is
need to think
glaring
about
at
my
us.
future.
He wants us to wrap this up. I think all this talk about dead dogs has really got on our producer's nerves.
So my podcast is
Yes, your podcast, Tim.
It's called the Dead Dog Podcast.
every week I talk about killing a dog.
No.
Everyone's really worried about me.
So you're like the next son of Sam. Or
Yeah.
He's the one who got orders to kill from a dog. That's
I
different.
drive around the city
Well, see, that
looking
proves
for
that dogs
dead
are evil.
dog carcasses. So anyway,
So your
the
podcast.
podcast. So the idea is someone would come on and they would read a 5-paragraph essay. The essay could be on whatever the fuck they wanted it to be on. And then you just have a discussion with that person about the 5-paragraph essay. Maybe I'd write some sometimes too. But the
I would
idea
love to appear on your podcast.
Yeah.
I have so many 5-paragraph essays.
Yeah, because 5-paragraph essays, like, it only takes you like a minute or two to write. Well, unless you're me, and then it probably takes like 5 weeks. But like
1 paragraph a week. That's
Yeah.
pretty good progress.
But most people can write a 5-paragraph essay. And then, like, everyone's a shitty writer anyways.
True. Yeah.
So you're going to be like, well, that kind of sucked. What did you mean by this? And then you could get, like... by the time you, like, edit it with the person, you actually know what the fuck they were talking about.
You know what that kind of sounds like?
What? Did someone already do this?
This American Life.
Well, yeah, it would be very artsy.
Chapter 1.
Well,
Act 1.
Hung Duong is a South Korean boy. His mother was dying.
Here we go again.
Luckily, he also hated his dog.
As we play the theme song to Homeward Bound over the scene where he beats the dog. It's in a major key too, I think.
It's in a major key.
I was thinking Back to Black for the dog beating scene.
Back it.
Oh my god. This has simultaneously been our greatest and our worst episode.
Agreed.
By far. This is like the greatest episode we've ever had, but it's also the worst episode we've ever had.
And all you dog lovers, hold your puppies closer.
Yes.
Or if your mother's dying, then you know what to do.
I think on that note, I think on that note, we've sufficiently beaten this dog dead.
Hey, whoa, there's lines, man.
So I think on that note, I think we'll wrap it up for this monthly, I guess, episode, unless we record, I don't know, in the next week or two, and we talk
about
about
video game tomorrow, man.
Yeah, we want to do another one the next day. We'll have like 7 podcasts to go out. We just drag Tim and Jeff all the way up here every day. So, anyway, as I try and calm down.
Stay tuned for 5 paragraphs.
Yes. Stay tuned for 5 paragraphs. That's Tim's podcast. I'm sure he'll have all of us on.
Brought to you by Stamps.com, Squarespace.
Well, we really probably can't use because it's not really brought to you by...
They would be so
They'll send us a letter that
It's free.
All right. You do not condone the beating of dogs at Squarespace.
Stock prices plummeting.
For
Stockmusic.net.
ZipRecruiter.
So,
sometimes hiring for positions is hard.
if you're still listening at this point...
Sometimes hiring someone to beat your dog to death and feed it to your mother is hard.
That's ZipRecruiter. We find the best dog beating candidates and the best chefs.
Sometimes finding the proper way to prepare your dog to feed your dead mother.
Yeah, feed it to her after she dies.
We send your mother monthly care packages that our sous chefs expertly put together.
That's what is it? Blue ribbon.
Blue ribbon.
Yeah.
With blue dog apron.
Blue apron.
Dog apron.
Blue
You
dog
have a beaten
apron.
dog delivered to your house every month.
We can guarantee it was beaten to death by a traumatized child. By a traumatized Korean boy.
My family and I had so much fun preparing our dog.
Are you tired of beating your family dog?
With blue dog apron, we beat the dog for you. In the most cruel way possible.
No more broken pull cues for beating your dog.
Oh, shit.
Oh. And
God.
folks, we haven't dropped any acid. We have no marijuana in here right now. We have we have some alcohol. So
We have zero audience at this point.
yeah, zero. Everybody has tuned out. So if
We
you're still
isolated the
listening-
non-dog beating crowd and
Yeah.
attracted the dog beating crowd. You know what? An audience is an audience.
So anyway, those of you who are in the dog beating crowd and are still listening can continue to listen to us on YouTube. I put the show up there. You can get us on iTunes. You can download us on iTunes, and you can download our show on Spotify.
And we were simultaneously being dropped by all these platforms.
So,
Don't beat your dog.
don't beat your dog to death, folks. It's
Donate,
terrible.
donate to the ASPCA.
Yes. Help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered. So I think we've had enough. I think I've had enough. So for
Remember the movie Billy Madison?
okay,
Barker beats him up. Now, what if he was a dog?
Could use
So-
CGI.
So I guess I'll maybe see Yins in the next episode if you're still wanting to listen to this program. I can't imagine why you would. So for John, for Jeff, for our special guest Timmy, who brought us the story about the dog and the cocaine and the threesomes, I want to thank him for joining us this time. Hopefully he'll be back again soon.
Anytime.
Yeah, hopefully next time,
Oh,
because
good.
this was great. So anyway, we'll have plenty more stories. I'm sure I'll have plenty more audio difficulties and editing. Listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. I think that's everything. I just search for the Lawrence Watson Show. I put links up on Facebook all the time, and you people never click on it, so it doesn't. You people never like or so anyway. You people never like or comment, and we would like to hear from you. Yeah,
5 people. Our entire audience.
and it's now 0. So
All right. Yeah. it's
yeah,
awesome.
so I know we've gone on long enough. So for John, for Jeff, for Timmy, I'm Lawrence. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.